something that stuck out to me is that I think is a good like lesson for people from a recruiting perspective. And you guys do this all the time, but you went from agriculture and you entered the sales industry, and now you have almost a 500 person organization after a couple decades. One of the things
Right.
that I see a lot with companies, especially when they don't have the recruiting and team building experience, from their perspective, they just want somebody that has this cookie cutter experience. Oh, I have an outside sales opportunity or an inside sales opportunity, and I want to make sure that they have 3+ years of outside sales experience and they've sold this, this, and this. And they immediately opt out, 95% of the potential opportunities from a recruiting standpoint. You went from agriculture, something completely outside of sales, and you blew up over a couple decades. The majority of, when we look at our clients, a lot, I'd say 75% of the recruits that they say, hey, this was my next top person, it was somebody not really relevant to that industry. They just came in and hustled, and they provided, the company provided a good comp plan, onboarding, training, and leadership experience, and the person worked and hustled and produced. And so I think that's super important. Another thing that stuck out too, and this is something that I've learned over the last couple of years, is I'm like, man, I'm coming up, I just finished 9 years with this recruiting, stuff, right? So at the end of next year, 2023 will be a decade. And it didn't get good until like a couple plus years ago. And if, there were so many times in those first 6+ years where I'm like, man, do I want to do something different? And if I would have changed what I did, I would have been starting all over. And over the
Yep.
last couple of years, I'm like, man, I'm so glad that I stuck it out with this one thing and went all in with this one thing, because it's starting to snowball in a massive way and ultimately create the entrepreneurial lifestyle that I want. You've been doing, the same thing for almost 24 years, and now you have a 500 person almost organization. You're definitely cracking 500 plus here in the next, couple quarters in 2023. And because you've gone all in, freaking everything about the business, right? You know how to sell, all the issues, you know how to solve the issues, you know how to manage the reps, you know how to recruit, you know how to deal with the complexities of, all the different roles and different markets, right? And so as you go deep into one thing long enough, you become better than everybody else at it, which allows you to build a better organization, accomplish your goals. So I think that's really cool. For sales leaders or even sales reps that may see this, and even maybe like small business owners, what were some of those things that allowed you to kind of step up to divisional and then get the opportunity regionally? Like, was it specifically your recruiting skill set, or what made you, what gave you the opportunities to do that?
I mean, I think it's just, performing at each level.
Yes, for sure.
I've never asked for a promotion, like never went and said, hey, I'd like to be this.
Yeah.
It was always something that was offered to me,
Hmm.
just because, whenever I would take on a new role, I would just, try to be the best at
Yeah.
that I possibly could be.
Yeah.
And, and learn everything about doing that specific role
Hmm.
and execute. And usually opportunities will start presenting themselves when you do that. I mean, I thought you made two really good points about number one, uh, recruiting experienced salespeople.
Hmm.
Um, I would actually say the opposite. I would say the opposite of that. Most of the time, what we find, experienced salespeople already have bad habits, and there's a reason that they haven't been successful elsewhere. You
Yes.
know, and
Yep.
so we actually like what we call neophytes, people that are, uh, they're a piece of clay that you can mold into whatever you want to
Yes.
make them. And
Yes.
you teach them your system and how to execute what you do, and that's what we target. And I would say, I mean, it's a large percentage, 85+% of
Hmm.
our people have never been in the insurance business or
Yep.
done anything like that. But they're like you in that they're looking for the things that, being an independent reps offers, the autonomy, the flexibility, the things to be able to do things outside of their professional career that define them. you
Yep.
know, I'm not going to say balance, because in opportunity where you can really make something happen. There's not going to be true balance, but
Yes. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
flexibility part of it is important. And we
Yeah.
always had a saying, there's no problem you can't recruit your way out of,
Yes. Love it. Love it.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's that that mindset of thinking I have to have this person that has all this experience and all that is is I don't think that's the right way to go at all. I
Yeah.
think you need to have a sound training program to teach them what you want them to know.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of more. You really want to look for intangible qualities in
Mm.
people. You know, um, you want to look for things that they've done in their life that illustrate a strong work ethic. That illustrate their ability to overcome challenges. Um, that show you discipline and the willingness to sacrifice. To get what they want. I mean, those are the things that are really going to make a difference. Not, oh, I worked at such and such company for 10 years selling widgets. I mean,
Yep. Yep. 100%. And
yeah,
then if you have the person with those characteristics, it's just all about plugging them into a system that if they do the work, they're going to see the sales success, right?
100%,
That's the
100%.
that's the difference. Is maybe a smaller business owner, they want the more experienced person because they don't know how to, or from their perspective, the more experienced person, because they don't know how to like train somebody up into the role, so they think this person can just come do it perfectly and they don't have to do much from a leadership standpoint, um which is a really hard route to predictably scale up your sales team. You look for specific characteristics, and the systems that they plug into at USHA allow the person to just like push these buttons, right? And do the
Yeah,
work and then see
yeah,
success.
and we're duplicating ourselves in the process, in
Yep.
essence. You know,
Yep.
and that creates these layers of leadership.
Yeah.
And when you can get horizontal like that with your leadership
Yeah.
layers, well, now you have all these additional legs that you can
Mhm.
start to build on, and you
Mhm.
can really, really scale your business.
Yeah. In terms of like attracting experienced people, and this is something I'm curious to, hear what you think about this, because what I've noticed, and I know this for like the larger, for larger organizations in general, I always have, but we've experienced this in the last 12 months for us as our brand has gotten bigger, like online, and we've gotten more of a name for ourselves. We've organically attracted experienced people, like, coming after us. I was telling you before we started this recording that if Sales Recruiting University had to close for some reason and I couldn't start another recruiting business and I had to go find a sales job, that I'm like, hey, I'm going to work with this company long term, like you're one of the 5 people that I would call right away. And the reason for that is I love the industry, but also there's a reason that you have 66 leaders and 400 reps. So I can assume based on that, with a bunch of these people making money, that I can follow this guy and I'm probably going to see success, right? So
Sure.
have you seen that as you guys have had larger success, it's been easier to attract experienced people, maybe like an outside sales leader?
Um, yes, of course.
Or
Yeah, I
does
mean, you're
everybody advance within your organization into leadership?
yes. So that was going to be part of the thing here is we actually don't hire outside leaders.
Mm.
Um, we hire, everybody starts from the ground up, here and earns their spot, so to speak. Now that's not to say that we don't identify people in the interview process that we go,
Yeah.
man, this guy would be a really good field leader, or this lady would be really well, do well in our leadership team. That certainly is the case, and that might be somebody that we might groom, for a position like that. But yeah, we do everything from within.
Yeah.
We don't bring in any outside sales leaders whatsoever.
Yeah.
A big part of our belief system is that you got to be able to show people how to do what they need to do, not just
Yeah.
tell people how to
Yeah.
do it.
100%. What about like an experienced, just a rep, not a leader?
Yeah, again, that's not a lot of what
Yeah.
we like. We like the rookies, people
Love it.
that have never done it. Now, do we ever hire previously licensed agents? Yeah, once in a while.
Mhm.
And I got to be honest, it usually doesn't work out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that you're talking about this, because I wish this is something, we're a service company, right? So these are things we want to communicate to every client, but it's good for them to hear it from a very successful client or an outside organization that's really accomplishing what they want to, right?
Well, I mean, I think you could pretty much take almost any business, Ryan, and you could say, okay,
Yeah.
this is a one man show here, or a
Yep.
mom and pop business. Well,
Mhm.
somebody's doing the selling, and it's
Yes.
usually the owner,
Yes.
or someone like that. And my advice for them would be, you train the first one. Get
Yep.
somebody who has those qualities, that you're looking for, and you train them how you want things done, and then you just keep duplicating from there.
Yep. Yeah. Another reason that's important is because if the owner um, or the sales leader, with that title at a small business, if they don't go through that learning curve on their own, they can't confidently scale up the sales team, right? If they, if they don't have that recruiting, that leadership, that training and management experience, then, if you have some outside person come in, even if in the rare situation they had success within scaling the team, if they fall off, which it's probably going to crumble at some time, the owner doesn't know how to fix it, right?
Right.
They need to have that skill
Well,
set.
and you need to have the right mindset too, first of all.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to understand that, your sales team is your number one asset.
Yep.
I mean, they're the ones that bring in the revenues.
Yep.
And so you have to treat them accordingly, when you
Yeah.
design your comp plans and,
Yeah.
everything that you do, um, that's critical. I mean, if you're ever going to build a really successful sales organization, those things have to be there.